All right, good morning all. Welcome back to our JSF class, Java Server Faces. That is the web where we have started talking about the Acasol soft. We call it integrated Acasol portal. That is Acasol portal. Before this, we have talked in the theory class a lot of theories behind the JSF. Here we loaded a kind of write-off from Java Server Faces from tutorial points. I will move to the Oracle. We urge you to all go through these links and read through. Then I also talked about the primefaces. The primefaces, that is the UI builder for the, as we have stated the other time here, we stated all this. So in our theory class we have covered all this. So for those following us remotely, please try to go through this. This is the primefaces version 12. It started from version 8.5, version 10, 11, 12, and that's how it is. Then we also talk about the bootfaces, which is the combination of the bootstrap and the primefaces. It gives you bootfaces. This is a carousel and all that. Don't worry, we're going to be, picking some UI components here and there, combining them to give us what we want, and we develop the JSF. So this is the primefaces website where you make use of their library for the UI, the front-end development. As you can see, it is responsive as it is being shown here: large screen, medium, small screen, or a bit very extra large, small. And it could be used for all these Java, Node.js and others. So in our previous class we are able to come up with this, but today we are not going to. I'm going to erase all this, and I want us to start developing the UI component of our purported application. And one of the UI components is the school data capture, written on the board here. So let me magnify screen. Let me pick the English. This is a forked project. We created it from a given project. So sorry, let me remove this magnification and I better zoom the screen. So please let me make some changes here. I'm going to discuss this page. I'm going to discard it. Here the title is I integrate. This is schools data capture. That is what we want to do, and inshallah tomorrow we are going to start the functionalities for this. All these are links to links to the bootstrap we have made use of, and links to some Google fonts. I will discuss this later. So this is, I'm going to I will remove everything here and start afresh. If I run, you see nothing, right? Yes. The only thing is the background. Even the background itself, I'm going to erase the background, or let me make it white. So So for us to understand what we are actually doing, the background is now white, and so you're going to see nothing here, right? The only thing is the panel. So if you remove this panel, you know there's something here, you're going to see nothing. Can you see? Yes. So we begin to understand that this panel is what brought that I have removed. So if I introduce, okay, now before writing anything, please let's understand some things here. This is the body, and the head, we've seen the head. Before we begin, I told you that you should embed the container, right? When you embed container followed by form, you can give this form, you give it ID, and the ID could be, say, school data capture. Data capture what? Form. Is it? Then I want to identify the panel. I only change the form to panel, right? So this is a very good thing, because you need to know all that. You should be able to identify all components in the page. Are we there? From the side of configuration, the UI, this source package, these libraries, this is where you integrate all the UIs. Can you see bootfaces here? I've downloaded bootfaces 1.5 and primefaces 12. Can you see? And the connector and all that. So if you want to add any jar, you click on this library, right click and click on add library. Sorry, add jar will be easier, since it is an external jar. Add jar or folder, then it takes you to where you pick the jar from where you kept it, and then you click on it and it adds it for you. Are we there? Done. So now I want to do something here, maybe for the container, for the form. For the form, if for the panel, let me style the panel by giving it a background, a very light background. Let me give it something. Can you see what I've given it? Very light something. And then let's quickly start. The first thing is okay, form is already there, and then this panel, I will give it a title. You know, one thing we need to understand, this panel belongs to who? Bootfaces, right? There's also a panel for primefaces. Okay? Yes, panel. You have panel for primefaces. So if, for example, you gave it a style and you give it a background, let me just say red, for example, for us to understand what is happening. You see, the fact that there is nothing in there, it just gave us something now, like this. But maybe later we try to, you know, compare the two, right? So the first thing here, let me give it a title. The title is going to be something, say school data capture. We want to capture data relating to schools. Can you see this? But this our screen, there is no margin, right? So let's quickly give it margin. And the margin here, the margin is what? Sorry, float, right? You make it false, right? It is okay. And in between the screen and our panel, we need to have some kind of, that means between this container and the body, we need to have what? Some kind of spacers. Okay? We need spacer. This spacer belongs to who? Primefaces. Thank you. So you give it height, and the height is what? Let's say 50 pixels. Please make it in pixels. 50, not 5, 50 pixels. Please look up here. I'm going to reload it. Can you see? It has moved. So this is what school data capture, and I think it's okay. So if you need any look up here while we are discussing this. Okay, I've removed it, but I know we talked about buttons, and I know I'm not connected now. If I click, it will just go away. I should have made it, but then there is something we call look at the panel here. If you say look what? If you say look, say success, for example, then it will introduce something in greenish something. Can you see color? Green color, like this, right? So if you say primary, for example, it gives you something like blue, I think. Can you see? Okay. So maybe go by what you want. I don't have much time to do all this. So the first thing here is we need to introduce a div, and within the div, it's going to occupy all here, but then only not full. Okay. So let's have a div of a class, and this class we give it column say column 2, column small screen, and what, small screen 2, for example. Then I have another small screen 2 here. I have another one. For this I make it 8. So that means I have 4 to the left, 4 to the right? And I'm going to introduce a kind of comment here. Let me just say just a space, right? That means I'm not going to write here, and here I'm not going to write anything here. Sorry, like I'm fast, right? Am I fast? Then for in here, for 8, then I come up with the components of the form. So in here I introduce another div, and this div within this div, of course it is 8 as it is none. Then I call a row, right? B row. There are other ways of designing these things, but this I think it is the easiest. Row means here, row, one line. Okay, in one line, what do you want? Okay, in one line, what do you want? Then I have a column. The first column I have is what? The first column of the row, name. Thank you. The first column is what? Name. So this name says what? I have a column name, and I can introduce name by saying input text. So I'm going by bootstrap or bootfaces. Input text. So this input text, the first thing I do, if I run it this way, can you see it here? But no level. So if you use, let me introduce another one for primefaces. P, primefaces input text. Look at it, also no level. Can you see what primefaces input text does? This is more responsive because this occupies the whole thing we have. But this, I don't know whether you are understanding. Yes, that's why I always use the input text for. Actually, each of these libraries for UI building libraries, they have their own virtues. Sometimes primefaces is having a very good looking or something, the functionality of its UI. Another times bootfaces or primefaces or bootstrap. So let's go by this. One advantage with this is that I can introduce the level here. When I introduce the level here and I say name, then look at what will happen. Can you see name here at the top? Which I think it's okay. All right, it is okay. Then, so you put in what you want, okay? Because this it gives you kind of good looking UI. So I think then you can introduce what we call what do you call these what do you call okay, it will ask you question required. If required, what will happen? But I think that will be handled maybe. That is validation. Now there's this placeholder, right? Placeholder. I want to introduce placeholder. Here I say school name. You say what? Supply what? School name. It tells you what you are expected to do. Can you see it here? Supply school name. This gives you idea what you are expected to do. Yes. And then there is also what we call tooltip. Tooltip. Supply your school name. Tooltip. If I hover my mouse here, can you see it up there? Huh? Yes. So this gives you a kind of guide. Okay. So I think this is done for the. In fact, this is first column, second column. I think it's all right for the row. It's okay. First column. Then if I copy this and I paste it somewhere, what will happen? This is another what? Another column, right? Huh? But if I want it in twos, anyway, let's go by this. So in order not to confuse you, let me just copy the whole row. Okay, and paste it here. I think this speaks more than what we did, because this is one row, this is another row. Then you do this CAC reg number. Okay. CAC registration number. Then the school should remain, right? So you see now we're done with this, right? Then another row. What? Address of the school. All right. Next. Owner's name. Owner's name. Is it correct? Please supply the What else?
Email.
Email and what?
Email and contact.
Let's take the two at a time. No, I pasted two. Email and contact. That means, let's just say this contact, let's say phone number. So somebody shouldn't write something different. Okay, I think we are somewhere. So next is to introduce the button. I want to introduce the button in another row. You are all expected to come up with this simple UI design before tomorrow. That's another assignment. Okay, so the button could be primefaces, could be bootfaces. Please use command button. Value of the command button, say capture or register. You click, can you see it here? Capture or register. Huh? You say? Okay, you want it at the other side there, then you need to have a div. This is the row, right? You need to have another div here. And this you align it right. Then you introduce this. Okay. Then you style it, give it like background if you like, and say the background is, let's say it's green, for example. So now, you know, if you run this, there will be no, the fonts will not show as it is expected. So give it color. The color should be white, the font color, and give it font size. The size of the color, let's see, here's the size of the font, let's say extra large. Okay, this is a simple UI. It doesn't really look nice, it doesn't look nice, but it's something we can start with. Of course it doesn't look nice. So the one thing is, if I click on capture, nothing happens. But if we want to do validation, after this we're going to close the class. We're going to stop here. If you need data here, you give it required true, and then you give it the required message if it is not, if it is not supplied. Says please supply what? School name. This is what we call client-side validations. A message will pop up. Where will you want the message to drop? Maybe at the top of the panel here. Then you introduce something called messages. Yes, messages. Either messages for bootspaces or messages for primefaces. So you can go by, maybe if you like messages for primefaces or message, and then you give it ID. You now give it message, for example message 1. Okay, and if you like, you can introduce also what we call a growl. A growl also is also a message, and you give it ID, and this you give it message 2. Okay, then we need to update these messages whenever something occurred from the button. So come to the button. Whenever somebody clicks on the button, you now say update. Update what? First you update the form. I'll copy the form, then the two messages 1 and 2. So let me copy the form. Can you see the importance of giving form an ID? Can you see here? All right. So you first of all update your form. You separate it with comma. Okay. So when I run, oh sorry, let me see what is happening here first. Okay, I understand. It is the goal for privacy sometimes giving us this kind of thing. Where is it? Okay, let me remove this. Sorry. The problem, okay, please add the for attribute to indicate which element message belongs to. Alright, it is, I'm supposed to use messages, not message. Can you see the fact that I did not do what? School. I only added required for this all.
Not for all.
Yeah, not for all. We're going to do that tomorrow, inshallah, when we want to start doing the server side. SSI include all these kind of things. This is what we call validations. If you click, so let me bring back the grow, big grow. The problem was on that. And the ID is what? Message 2. So if you run, okay, so that's where we are having problem also. Something is wrong here actually. I don't know, maybe I'll have to check what is happening first. Let's go by the messages. All this is written in the documentation. I'll provide you with the documentation of all these things. You're going to need over 500 pages for the documentations of all that we have. But then if you are able to understand what I'm doing, then you're going to read it without you knowing. Yes? So this is what we call the something. We're going to stop here and next we continue from where we